Now. And right now. Okay, we are live on the YouTube.
Whoop whoop.
And shortly, possibly live on Facebook. There we go. Everything's all set.
All right.
In the booth. So okay, welcome to Church Chat today. There it is. It's Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
Makes me laugh every week.
Every time. It's awesome.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody, to Wednesday Church Chat. I'm Pastor Dan.
I'm Pastor Dave.
And we are glad that you are here to join us, along with our good friend James Adkins over there, doing all of the technical things that neither of us understand. I got to sit in that chair one time, and I messed it up.
Yeah.
Yep, totally messed it up. So I don't sit there anymore, and and that's for the best for the entire planet. And we are here to continue to talk about just some things that help us to connect with you during this time of social distancing. And just some things that we're all facing, that we're all going through. Today, we thought we'd kind of change it up a little bit. We've been a little bit more, heavy in the last couple of weeks, talking about our feelings and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you cope?
How do you cope? So today, we're kind of doing it, but not really. We just want to talk about joy today and things that make you happy, that make you feel fulfilled, make you feel full of joy. One thing that makes me feel full of joy is that every Wednesday, along with this, we also put out a video for our kids. Corinne puts it out. It's Spark Online, and that's on our YouTube page. So make sure that you check that out, and check that out with your kids especially. But thought we'd start off a little bit with just some updates of how we're doing. So Dave, you shared last week that some of your family has been immediately impacted by this virus. So how's everybody doing?
Father-in-law, who has COVID-19, is stable now, and that's really good because he was in bad shape. My mother-in-law, who also has it, she's at home, and so far hasn't really had a ton of bad symptoms, so that's good. Sister-in-laws all tested negative. I do have a brother-in-law that has it, my sister's husband, and it looks like he's kind of coming on the other side of it.
That's good.
So it's all positive news. So,
that's great. That's good to hear. So I know a lot of people have been praying for them. And I know it's been heavy on your guys' hearts and everything, but you found ways to cope and to kind of make through with all this. Two things I know for sure that you have been doing. One, you've been growing a beautiful mustache.
Yes.
Can we see that very well on the camera? The mustache, is it coming in well? We might need a close up of the mustache.
Probably not, because there's a lot of gray.
There is a lot of. I mean, it makes you look wise,
but not wizened. Right?
Oh, okay. Look straight into the camera.
Oh yeah, looks good.
I always have the facial hair stuff. Well, because when I shave this, I look like I'm 14 years old.
Well, that's what I was going for.
It's like it makes you look younger.
Yes.
And yeah.
And now I think I'm going to do the soul patch. Let's just add.
Oh, you're going to go with the soul patch
every week.
I was going to say, how about the Fu Manchu? Can you just grow it down?
I could. What
Hogan
What
style?
are you bringing to the table?
What am I bringing to the table? All of this. All of this. This is the moneymaker. This is what the people tune in for.
I want to see you add something or take something away.
Or subtract something.
Yes.
I can't grow hair in more places than what I already do.
You could get a rat tail going, a mullet.
I suppose I could do that. If the people want that, I'll see what I can do.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, great idea. So we did want to talk about just... so we talked about that was one thing. There's a second thing.
Chickens.
Yes. I know that people are clamoring for updates about the chickens.
Okay, so here's the thing. I brought home 4 new chickens, and they're supposed to be the same age as the other ones. The other ones are the ones I had were twice as big.
Uh-huh.
So we'll call them big ones and little ones, right?
Okay.
The big ones were messing those little ones up.
Yeah.
And so even when I would separate them, the big ones would be out in the run, like out in the yard, like lifting weights, just eyeballing those little ones. Someone was going to get shivved.
Yeah,
sure.
it was happening.
So I did separate. I put an extra large dog pen.
Okay.
In the crate so that they're together but not together.
Okay.
And supposedly after a couple weeks that
a little
works.
social distancing.
Yes, that works magic.
Okay.
So
all right.
The little ones are in lockdown. Spice Girls are in lockdown.
Yes.
Big ones are still. Now it seems like the big ones kind of don't pay attention to
Okay. All right.
So it looks like it's going to be a happy farm eventually.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So I think that things like that and my chickens are continuing to grow as well. I've got a new pen on the way for them. Really living in luxury in my backyard.
I like the fact that you sicked your cat on them.
I didn't sick the cat on. Number one, my daughter brought the cat out, which I thought was a bad idea. But we just let them, interact a little bit just to see what would happen, and there was no vicious attacking. The cat's
there was no vicious attack.
They're they're roughhousing.
Cats definitely owned the chickens.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so I think I know where you're going with this.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So that helps with a discussion at my house. This got pretty big.
Yeah.
Grizzly bear versus an ostrich. Who would win? James?
Let me turn my mic back on. I think it's pretty obvious that the grizzly bear might win in that particular matchup.
Yeah, I would agree with the grizzly bear.
Yes, I have. There's somebody in my house. I'm not going to mention any names, Lord, but he thinks that he would give it to the ostrich.
Okay.
But then after I saw your cat just kind of pounce on that chicken, he didn't mess him up or anything, but he could have. You know what I mean?
If he wanted to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna play that footage for him.
Okay.
And
so here's a couple of thoughts on this. The ostrich, it's not a 100% that the grizzly's going to win. I would give the ostrich 1% chance. It's got to get the perfect kick in the right place, but it's going to be the grizzly most of the time. No, but I think maybe most importantly, in what context are a grizzly and an ostrich fighting? Like where is this ever happening?
Well, these are the discussions that happen at my house.
These are the things that happen when you
and this one was kind of a little bit true because we were watching Alaskan bush people.
Oh, okay.
And they got new ostriches because they've started a ranch. They're no longer in Alaska, they're in Washington state, and there was a bear sniffing around the ostriches.
Okay. All right.
So
it could happen, I suppose.
Could have went down.
James is just over here watching my microphone slowly fall. Slowly fall. It's all good.
That's what happens when you buy a $5 mic stand.
Hey, it's all good. So we and I know these are ridiculous conversations, but we thought what we need to do today is talk about joy. Joy, I think, is so important in times like this where we don't have, it doesn't seem like there is a lot of joy. A lot of people, I've had so many conversations with people who are just saying, I'm just struggling with this. I'm having a hard time dealing with this. And so I think it's important to find these moments of levity, of just some fun, of things that actually make you truly happy, and don't just put a Band-Aid on it, but that spring up from within. That's what the difference between happiness and joy is. Happiness is kind of a Band-Aid on things, and joy is really something that comes from, it's not circumstantial. It comes from your faith. It comes from your perspective. It comes from your outlook. It comes from Jesus being within you, and that wellspring of joy that comes up in times when there is trouble, in times when there is pain. And I know you've got a devotional thought on that you're going to share in a second. I was thinking about, my mind always goes back to the Psalms during things like this, just how David, who is always in times, it seems like he always found himself in times of hardship, he would constantly be writing, though, about joy, about having the joy of the Lord, and the joy of the Lord is his strength. And to me, that's something that I aspire to, is that my circumstances don't determine my joy, even really, really difficult circumstances. So what was it that you wanted to kind of share around that?
I just remember that, joy is a fruit of the Spirit. And I found this little nugget in. This was in a book called Christian Healing. And it just kind of, through the book, it just kind of, part of it reminds us that, joy takes away discouragement and despair and that kind of thing. But here was a quote. Let us remember that God, good, is good. He is omnipotent, and therefore evil is impotent. If you wish to be happy, argue with yourself on the side of happiness. Take the side you wish to carry, and be careful not to talk on both sides or argue stronger for sorrow than joy. You are the attorney for your case, and you will win or lose according to your plea. I just thought that was a good nugget. And also, it kind of, I don't know why, but it reminded me of that little, I thought that was really cool. Was it Friday? You guys had a dance?
That was either Friday, Saturday night. No, it was Saturday night, yeah.
That was just, I thought that was the coolest thing. Like, you guys chose to have some joy and have some fun and virtually connected with your family, and everybody was dressed up.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah, so if you didn't see it, and so I actually have, you talked about having a beef with your kids. I also had a beef with somebody over this, and I'll get to that. But my brother, Kyle, is actually a DJ on the side. It's part of what he does. And so we were talking, said, hey, what if we set up a virtual school dance for all these people who are missing their daddy-daughter dances and, maybe prom or whatever it might be. And so it's like, all right, let's do that. And we'll do it on Zoom, and anybody can come and just have a good time. And so we thought, all right, well, let's get dressed up and, we'll take pictures and all that fun stuff, and we'll dance in our living rooms. We'll do this on Saturday. So, and we did, and we had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. Here's where my beef comes in. So we started advertising this on like Tuesday, and really kind of put it out there like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Anybody wants to join in, go ahead and do it. On Friday, John Krasinski, it's Jim from The Office, who's been doing Some Good News, which, by the way, is a ripoff of this that we're doing right now. John Krasinski comes out Friday morning and says, hey, I'm going to DJ a prom for everybody on Friday night. All right. So he's got a bug here somewhere, or I don't know what's happening, but Jim from The Office has now stolen two of my ideas.
We're on to you, John. You
rule the day, John.
Oh, we're coming for you. We are coming for you. So, but no, we had a blast, and yeah, that's a big part of what we've been trying to do is just find ways to smile, find ways to have joy, find ways to celebrate the good things that we can do, and to be really creative about it. And we have some other ideas coming up, not just in my family, but for the church. One thing that we're going to do that I'll go ahead and share with everybody now is we've been doing a lot of contemporary music and things like that. And so tomorrow we're going to be recording a whole bunch of people from our church doing some more traditional worship music. And we'll try to get that video put together to send out to folks who, they've just been missing the hymns and things like that. And so, hopefully put a smile on people's face with all of those things. So another way we want to put a smile on everybody's face today is we're thinking about who are some of the people that are just experts in bringing joy to others. And so I have a connection with a guy. Judson Laiply is a Bluffton alumni, and you might not immediately recognize his name, but you'll recognize him when you see him here in just a second. So Judson, hey, how are you? Doing great.
Hi, Judson.
Judson, this is Dave, and got James over there who's running all the video stuff, and we're excited to talk with you. If you're looking at Judson's face right now and you're like, I know this guy from somewhere, where do I know this guy from? YouTube viral sensation from the evolution of dance. You call yourself kind of the first viral video star, is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those monikers from a marketing standpoint. I was the first YouTube viral video.
Gotcha.
So before me, if somebody wanted to send somebody a video, they had to send the full file via email.
Right. And so then you have YouTube come out, and then where were you when you did this this dance that's now been viewed 300 million sometimes?
Well, so I started working as a speaker really when I was in college at Bluffton University, and then kind of looked into doing it a little more while I was in graduate school. And in 2000, I came up with the idea for the dance to finish out my shows. And I was working a lot in the college market, and the college market has an organization called NACA, which is the National Association of Campus Activities, which connects acts, speakers, comedians, hypnotist bands, and a variety of different entities with the colleges, because colleges are constantly looking to do things for their students. If you got lucky, you were able to do what was called a showcase. And I did a bunch of different showcases over the course of the first several years. And that video was filmed at I think it's at the time was called the South, like the Middle South or something like that. But it was like Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, and a couple other states. It was called a showcase. So I had 20 minutes in front of about 900 college students, all from various schools across the central part of the country. And then I just happened to pull that video out of that particular showcase.
That's awesome. And I know that that's been a thing that's really kind of really launched. I mean, you were already working at it, but I'm sure it really boosted and launched your career. And by the way, shout out to Bluffton University. Yeah, another fellow Beaver. So you're missing out, man. It's the place. So during this time, maybe just share a little bit, because I know that a big part of what you talk about is going through adversity and going through difficult times. So I guess my questions are how are you and your family doing during all of this, and just kind of what would you say to people who are struggling to find joy, struggling to find any happiness in the middle of all of this?
Yeah, it's interesting because usually in life we have a wide range of words that we can use to describe situations that we're dealing with. You can go and look in a thesaurus and find all sorts of words, but really the only word that you can use to describe what we're going through right now is unprecedented. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of other words that really encompass everything. So I think the hardest part about navigating all of this is, even when we look for advice and even when we're looking to other entities or people that we would normally look to, we also realize that no matter what they're saying, they don't really have any experience in it either, because nobody's ever dealt with this. So if you look at some of the traditional things that you can do when you're faced in this moment, is number one, I always tell people, is always express, never suppress. When you have a feeling, when you have an emotion and that comes to you, express it in the most mature way that you know how. That doesn't mean throwing a tantrum. It doesn't mean screaming and yelling. Those are not what I consider to be mature ways to express your emotion. But find a way to express what it is you're feeling, whether that's journaling, talking to somebody that you are that you have confidence in, sharing it with someone, but being able to express it rather than suppress it. And a lot of times we are brought up to suppress things. We'll say phrases to other people that we have the greatest intention, but we don't realize what it means. Things like, oh, we'll be fine, or you'll get over it, or you're going to be okay, or I've dealt with something like that, or I know how you feel, which whenever someone says one of those to us, we have the opposite reaction. When somebody says, oh my gosh, I know how you feel, the first thing that pops into our head is, no, you don't, because you're not me. So finding healthy ways to express it, and then looking for ways that still help provide you joy that are in your control. Emotions are wide-ranging, and they're roller coaster, and they're ever-changing, and it's completely and totally possible to hold two conflicting emotions at the exact same time. It's possible to be both sad and joyful in the same moment. It's possible to have moments of happiness and extended periods of sadness all in the exact same time. So that's one of the reasons that I think it's very important to continue to find ways to connect with people, continue to do the fun little tiny things that you don't have to worry about what anyone else sees. Your own dance parties, your own game time, your own whatever it is that you like doing that's fun and quirky and different, that allows you to express yourself and vent out some of that frustration. I think is something that would be positive.
So maybe could you give us some examples? What have been some of the things you've been doing to kind of continue to find joy and regulate those emotions and all of that?
Well, I'm still journaling, so to me, journaling is a big thing, because sometimes I think when you release an emotion of some sort, whether that's talking to someone about it, whether that's writing it down, whether that's just finding something to do, when you express that, I think you release it a little bit. Whereas if you don't express it, you have a tendency to hold on to it and keep that in. I'm a big fitness person, so I've upped my workouts. I work out more than I have previous to all the things that we're dealing with. That's one of my ways. I do a lot of this. I do a lot more podcasts, Skype calls, Zoom calls, things that I would do sometimes when it fit into my schedule beforehand, but now I have a lot more free time. So when somebody asks me if I can do something, my answer is pretty much almost always yes. And then they're like, okay, well, what's your availability? And now it's pretty much, well, a lot. So whenever you've got time, I can kind of go. So for me, helping others through this, that's one of the things that brings me joy. Because if I sit and just think, and that's one of the things I've kind of taken this mantra every day to find 3 types of way to serve: something to serve myself, something to serve somebody else, and then something to serve my community. And I think if you can focus and find one way to do each one of those things each day, that's going to make a huge difference. Because you got to do something to serve yourself. So hopefully something on the healthy side of things, not I'm going to eat an entire pan of lasagna because I want to serve myself eating that way, or other ways that we find, because we can become very defensive about how we're dealing with things. A lot of people are stuck indoors. They don't like being stuck indoors. And so we become defensive and we say, well, since I'm going to be stuck indoors, I'm going to eat a whole bag of chips and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And that's okay. I don't want you to feel guilty if you decide to do that. But at some point in time, you got to recognize that that's emotional. You're just finding a way to express that emotion by doing something defensive, or just kind of, I can't even think of the word right now because my brain is a little fried, of course, as other people, but just, doing it to kind of push back. All right, if you're going to make me stay inside, then I'm going to eat this bag of M&Ms because this is my way of taking control. So I did that a little bit at the start, but now I've done a better job of not using that particular avenue as my defense mechanism. So finding ways to do that, finding a way to serve yourself, then making phone calls to people, an individual. And some people will say that, oh, well, I can do both. I can do the last two together. I can serve somebody else and that serves my community. But I think you need to make a differential between seeking out a specific individual to talk to or visit with or send a thank you card or send something nice to, versus doing something that can serve a community in some aspect or a way as well. So I think if you do those 3 things, it's nice because it does 2 things. Number one, when you make intentional choices, you are reinforcing control in your own life. And that's one of the hardest things to deal with right now, is the level of uncertainty that we have, the loss of control over some of our basic freedoms that we used to take for granted. And making conscious choices each day helps us express some of that control again. So it kind of serves 2 purposes. You get to remind yourself of your willpower and your ability to make choices, and you get to serve others, yourself, and your community.
Awesome. Do you have anything you wanted to ask in particular?
I have a very important question. Judson. Ostrich versus grizzly bear. Who are you taking?
In what? Are we talking a foot race? Are we talking a fight?
We are talking a fight.
Cage match. Oof. I mean, I've seen ostriches. They get pretty angry. Now, is it an open field? I mean, there's a lot of Is it an open area or is it an enclosed area?
Any scenario, they're just going to fight.
I think in an open field, I might take the ostrich.
Oh, man.
But in an enclosed area, I would probably take the bear.
Okay.
Because an ostrich can move fast, but they're vicious. So if the ostrich can, it's kind of like the old fights. If you can keep them from hitting you at all and just peck at them and eventually wear them down.
So if the ostrich goes with the rope-a-dope, the ostrich wins.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
I'm thinking He's thinking Muhammad Ali versus Sugar Ray. Like one's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if the bear gets one good swipe, it's over.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if it's an enclosed space, the ostrich ain't getting away.
Well, thanks
That
for
was
that
a very
input.
important question. If you wonder why that was asked, you just have to go back and watch the beginning of all of this. All right. So, is there anything else? Just any other advice you'd like to share with everybody?
I mean, I think the biggest thing here is try as hard as you can to not feel guilty about whatever it is you're feeling. And that's one of the hardest things when we have emotions that we're not used to feeling, or situations we're not used to dealing with. We sometimes get wrapped up breathing and then finding a way to express that, and then making the choices that you need to continue to make after that fact, as opposed to just kind of trying to dismiss your feelings and suppress them, because we all know that in the long term, suppression of emotion is just going to end up bubbling up over at some point in time.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate you sharing that, and I love that, not feeling guilty about what you're feeling, because I think there are a lot of people who are feeling pretty down and are trying to find a way to get out of that, but there's a lot of guilt about feeling down. I don't have it as bad as someone else, or but I still feel bad and I don't know why. And people have a hard time dealing with that. So I think that that's really important. All right, we're going to get you out of here on this. In just a few moments, Pastor Dave and I are going to have a dad joke competition in an effort to bring joy to the masses, the tens of people who are watching us right now. So, what's your one or two best dad jokes?
Okay, so I'm going to do some rapid fire ones.
Okay, go for it.
So when I perform, if I have a problem with the dance or the audio, if sometimes there's technical difficulties, I'm just standing on stage waiting for the music to start. I've got like a package of like 4 or 5 that I'll just rattle off.
Right.
So my favorite are, what do you call a cow with no legs?
Don't know.
Ground beef. What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. And then my other two are, there's 2 ducks sitting in a bathtub. One duck turns to the other one and says, quack. And the other duck looks and goes, that's what I was going to say. And then the other one is, there's 2 ducks sitting in a tank, and one duck turns to the other one. Oh, no, wait, I messed it up. There are 2 fish sitting in a tank, and one fish turns to the other one and says, do you know how to drive this thing?
Those are terrible. Well done.
Good
Yes.
job.
Hey, and I know we were going to get you out on that, but we did have one question from Holly Metzger. She would just like to know, what was your favorite memory as a Bluffton student, and what caused you to want to start speaking, inspiring others?
So I was involved in speaking when I was in high school. I was really involved in student council and got to serve on the state student council board during my senior year. And I've always just enjoyed, I combine education and entertainment, and I've always just enjoyed those 2 things. I've always felt that if I had someone's attention, I wanted to give them something that was of value, but I also really like the entertainment aspect, and that was what drew me to that. And I've got so many memories at Bluffton, but I think the one of the most unique things about Bluffton was that's where I first learned how to play ultimate frisbee,
Yeah.
which and then
Good times.
was our little tiny version of something called tennis ball golf.
Oh yeah, that's still going on.
Yeah, and I've never seen it anywhere else. I've never heard of anyone else talking about it. And for those that don't know, you take a 9 or a iron or a pitching wedge and a tennis ball, and you start at one tree and you just pick another tree and you estimate a par and say, okay, that'd be a par 5, and you just hit a tennis ball until you hit that next object. So it's kind of like a combo of tennis, golf, and frisbee golf.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
Yes, very good. That's a great memory from there. I love that. What dorm did you live in, by the way?
Lincoln for the first 3 years, and then Hershey for my last year.
Love it. Yep, I was in both those. Awesome.
Nice.
Very cool.
Nice.
Hey, thank you, Judson, so
Thank you
much
very
for coming
much.
on. We appreciate it, and hope you and your family stay safe during all this.
My pleasure. And everyone else out there, stay safe, keep doing what we need to do, and we will eventually get through this. So,
Right on.
Take
All right.
care.
Thanks a lot, Judson. We'll see you.
all right. Have a great day.
All right, bye.
That was cool. Are we going to post his link for?
Yeah, well,
his...
can we post the link to the evolution of dance? And now there's like 2 or 3 different versions of the evolution of dance, and you can also look him up on Facebook. And I didn't say anything, but I looked at his Facebook yesterday, and he was talking about working out. He's trying out for American Ninja Warrior.
Wow.
I know, it's kind of cool. So hopefully he makes it. So I don't know if there's any sort of voting or anything. If you know somebody who's a producer at American Ninja Warrior, go get him. And let them know Judson should come on. So
well, Jim Steffen's been on.
Okay, yeah,
and a couple other local people. So
yeah.
he could probably
it could happen. Very cool. All right, so we teased this. We promised this to you. So just in an effort to share a little bit of joy, what Dave and I thought we would do is we would have a dad joke competition. We are both dads. You have a little bit more. You have a few more years of experience as a dad than I do.
Okay.
But I really like to think my material is pretty top notch.
All right. Well, we'll see.
And so the idea is this. I think we go back and forth, one of us, and you can decide who goes first. And if you make the other person laugh, you get a point.
Okay.
Okay? And do we have to look each other in the eye when we do this?
I'm thinking yes.
Okay.
You should go first.
I go first. Okay. What's red and bad for your teeth?
What?
A brick. That's a laugh. I get a point. 1 point. Can we get a little scoreboard? I don't know.
That was a really good one.
All right. Thank you.
What do mermaids wash their fins with?
I don't know.
Tide.
You guys are great.
Yeah, we're terrible at this. All right. All right. What's the most remarkable invention of all time?
What?
A dry erase board.
I can see it.
Yeah.
What did the fried rice say to the shrimp?
I don't know.
Don't you walk away from me.
That's good. That's good. James, how are you doing over there? Any laughs out of you? Do we get bonus for making James laugh?
I'm a rock. You can't make me laugh. I'm a rock.
Is a rock. It's hard as made of stone. All right. A man walks into a pet store and orders 12 bees. The clerk gave him 13. The man says, "That's one too many." The clerk says, "It's a freebie."
Okay.
That's a point.
What was the foot's favorite type of food?
I don't know.
Doritos.
The punchline's terrible. It's the dumb look on your face is what's killing me. All right. Oh, I like this one. This is a good one. What's a pirate's favorite letter? You can, if you think you know it, you can say it.
R.
You'd think so, but 'tis the sea.
Oh, that's a horrible joke.
I know. All right.
What does a Swedish clown say?
I don't know.
Honk.
I'm not even keeping track anymore.
All right. Do you know what I said when I hit Dwayne Johnson on the rear?
What?
I hit rock bottom.
Why did the salad go to the studio?
I don't know.
To get some beats.
Excellent. I don't think anyone won. I think we all lose.
I think we all lose. I did think of one, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Because of his bathtub
Yeah,
one.
go ahead.
Why don't ducks fly upside down?
I don't know.
They would quack up.
Please. Go ahead, James.
What's brown and sticky? A stick.
Wow. I think our tens of people who watch this probably went down to single digits.
If you have a great dad joke, we'd love to hear it. Please post in the comments.
Actually, my favorite is what's red and smells like blue paint? Red paint.
That's a good one.
It's funny because
That's all pretty fantastic.
Honk.
That
was my favorite.
That was pretty good. I did like that. So let us know what your favorite was. And if you have a dad joke that you think will make us laugh, you're probably right. Because we laugh at all.
Especially if you look each other in the face.
No one thinks we are funnier than we do.
That's right. And by the way, this is kind of like the second floor of the church on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's where our offices are. It's normally kind of what's happening is us just saying ridiculous things to make the other one laugh.
Knock jokes through the walls.
Knock jokes through the walls. I heard a good one of those the other day. I forget what it is, so I don't want to mess it up. So, anyway, we just wanted to put a smile on your face, and hopefully we did. And hopefully you find a way to have some joy. And I really love what Judson said, the thing about doing something for yourself, doing something for someone else, maybe somebody in your family, and then doing something for the community. When we try to give towards others, I think that brings us so much joy. Mm-hmm. And it brings joy to others as well. And so, I mean, that's a part of why we do this, part of why we're, making as many efforts as we can to just do something to help people, be able to feel a little bit of joy. And so be creative. Think of some ways that you might be able to do that. Maybe it's as easy as, getting groceries for your elderly neighbor or, whatever it might be. Just finding a way to bring some joy to someone else. I had fun today.
Yeah, I did too. I thought he brought a lot of good wisdom. Yeah. I really liked you don't be ashamed of your emotions.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and yeah, this was a good show.
It's a good show.
At least I liked it.
Who cares what anyone else thinks? It makes us happy. So I think we'll wrap it up. You got to know when to land the plane, and I think it's time to land the plane.
Oh yeah.
So all right, we hope that you have a great rest of your week. Don't let all the stuff just get you down the whole time. Be creative. Think of some ways to bring joy to others and ultimately bring joy to yourself. And a big part of that is going to be the joy that comes from within, from your relationship with Christ. So keep building on that as well. We want to help you do that. So join us Sunday morning at 10:30. We'll be right here for worship. And we'll be continuing our Above the Fray series, and it's just a great time to be able to gather together. When you're together on these, I want to encourage you to do this. Talk with some other pastor friends. When you're together in some of these videos, comment and let us know that you're here. Just to let us know that you're here. Hey, I'm watching, because it brings us joy just to know that you're around. And
helps us to think about you.
Yeah, and we love to be able to pray for you, and so that's a way that helps us out. So thanks again to James over there doing all the things to make the magic happen, and we just hope that you all have a great week. So until Sunday, we'll see you guys later. Bye.